Hey, yo, welcome to the secondary break. Got my man, Mr. Dresden Dre from the East Coast, New York, tapping in. Big shout out, and we are sending our well wishes to my co-host, Mr. Zach Talitsky. He's a little under the weather. My name is Graham Bunn. Don't need to get into extensive introductions. Former D1 point guard, and both of us just love Carolina basketball, even when we are in the state that we're in right now. We're down bad. Down bad. Dropped another one. I got the broom in the corner for the Duke sweep yesterday. Unfortunately, we go down 82-69. And to my best recollection, I think that, the season is over. I'm wearing all black today for the funeral. All
Man,
black.
look, I feel the same way, man. It was a tough night to say the least. Watching the boys go out like that, man. But listen, it's been a long season, and all we could do is look forward, man.
Yeah, I'm proud of the guys. Like the game at Duke was challenging to be proud of the guys. I'm sure they played hard. When you're a
Yep,
fan, you're emotionally attached. You're not there. You have no control over what happens.
yep,
That game, and it's probably a very unfair assumption. At Duke, felt like we just laid down and just took it. You know what I mean? Like there was no resistance, and I know we kind of cut it, and we only ended up losing by 17. But the game was so far out of hand
yep.
that I think Duke was on cruise control and the score wasn't indicative. Now, this game, I felt like the boys showed as much resistance as they could. I mean, it had to be a perfect storm of things to happen for us to win that game. And you never want to rely on we got to be perfect to win. Usually that happens in like a national title game. You know what I mean? Like the stakes are high, season was on the line, and as a Carolina fan, you don't want to rely on we need a miracle. So that
Yeah,
was my only thing going into the game. Is like, man, this is where the program's at, where we need a miracle,
right.
perfect storm to happen to beat Duke at home. And
Yep.
so that's tough to stomach. But the boys did play well. I mean, unfortunately, some guys just had off nights. Seth Trimble was like 1 for 9, I believe. That's tough. Um, he's somebody that we need to play well if we're going to have a chance to win, especially beating the number 2 team in the country.
Right.
I don't know. What are your thoughts? Like, are there any positive takeaways? Because essentially the season's over now.
Yeah, I mean, look, like you said, the game at Duke. I mean, that game was over before halftime. We had
Yeah.
zero shot. And coming into yesterday's game, I really thought, senior night, RJ's last home game, and sure enough, he balled out, man.
He did.
It was like vintage RJ for
Yeah.
once.
Hmm.
He looked
Yeah, he
good.
was big.
Defensively, I loved our energy right off the jump. We
Hmm.
looked great. We were pressuring Duke and caused a lot of turnovers. Caused Coop to get on foul trouble real quick, which
Yep.
was huge for us. Holding Coop, I think what he ended up with like 15 and 9 or something like that for the game was, I mean, that's tremendous. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 15
But
and 9 on 15 shots. So like
it,
he.
exactly. I mean, that's huge.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, I mean, you and I were talking, earlier today. It's just it was frustrating to see how we actually came back in the second half, right? Took the lead 7, and at that point, we lost track of the game, man. We got back to our old ways, where it's dribble, 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 and till the shot clock was down to 2-1, and then we're chucking up
Mm.
terrible step back threes, from 30 feet away, and no one was hitting them except for RJ. And then all of a sudden, coach pulls them out, and then there was no
Yeah.
turning back from there. So
Yeah.
to answer
I
your
don't know.
question,
Did he
man,
hit? I don't even know if he hit a shot after he came back in the game. I think that might have ended the scoring for him from the field, which,
yeah, man,
I get it. He can't play every minute, but when you're rolling, you got to make a coach's decision. Like, I got to leave him in. While he's got it
100%.
going, I got to leave him in.
Especially with what was on the line. This is not game 3 of the season. This is
Right.
do or die. Like you got to ride with your dog. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? And it was frustrating. But again, to answer your first question, I mean, it was nice to see the boys like really put out, great energy, and it felt like we really wanted to come back. From from that disaster of a game at Duke. Put up a good effort, but just lack of, not enough talent, not enough gas, outcoached, all of the above, in my opinion.
Yeah, the I don't know the coaching choices and decisions. I've been on one side of like not really thinking the team was managed correctly, and it goes all the way back to roster construction and who knows what went into what. We didn't have enough money. There's so many layers to that where I do get messages from time to time, and by no means am I some Carolina expert. I'm just someone who loves the team way too much that doesn't play for them.
Right.
Like I don't play for them, but like it does affect my life. Um,
Same.
but like just the quad one record, I got into a conversation and a discussion with another UNC influencer or podcast or whatever you want to call these little recap shows. It's like 20-31. I mean, it was like a glaringly obvious losing record against in games that matter, and that's really hard for me because in layman's terms, if you go to work and just the results aren't there, usually they move on from you. They don't give you an extension and a raise. So I'm just in a spot where I don't know. I think I saw a couple posts from Carolina basketball, like, what are your thoughts post Duke game? And my thoughts were, one, I felt like we were going to lose the game. I wanted to be optimistic. I wanted to say it's going to be a perfect storm. Carolina's going to show their grit, and they did. It just kind of wasn't enough. But my concern is the future of the program. You know what I mean? Like, I know we hired a general manager, and everyone's like, that's going to change the world. I mean, it's been a 6-year gap, and like 2 out of the last 3 we're going to miss the tournament. Does a GM fix everything?
Doubt it.
Yeah, like I'm worried. I like I don't know. And that was my initial thoughts. Now we do roll into we got a bad draw. The tiebreakers moved us into the 5 spots. So we play the winner of the Notre Dame
Pitt
game, and then we get Wake Forest.
Right.
And probably if we pull that off, which we already lost to Wake Forest this year, but I feel like we're a better team than we were then. Right? We get Duke again. Yeah. And usually it's tough to beat a team 3 times, but I think they've kind of shown that the gap between the 2 teams is so great. I don't think we'll be able to pull that one off.
Yeah, agreed. You don't think if we somehow pull it off and get to the chip of the ACC and lose in the chip, do you think we have a shot?
We've got a shot. I would have to monitor the other bubble teams. I mean, we have 11 quad 1 losses. And so at that point, if we beat Duke, which would be a massive win on a neutral floor, but it's only one quad 1.
Right.
We're 2-11, and I just don't know. I don't think the committee's going to really love that. I don't think since we've been doing the net, which is 7 years, no team has ever made the NCAA tournament with 10 quad 1 losses, and we've got 11.
Right.
So I don't think it looks good for us. Yeah.
Not looking good, man. Well, look, again, going back to the GM thought. You and I were talking about it the other day. I think it comes down to the money, man. The money and just allocation and figuring out the right numbers for the right talent, for the right kids, whether that's portal or high school kids, and pray for the best with Hubert, man, and coaching staff. Because, I mean, I got to be honest, you know where I stand with that.
Yeah.
Not a big fan.
And I think the fan base is pretty split. I did a UNC/Duke influencer podcast show before the Carolina Duke game. Yeah. And there was a heated discussion. I didn't actively take part in it just because Hubert's our coach. He got an extension. So I'm all on board. Like there's no –
Have to be.
Yeah, you have to be. You have no choice. They took that choice away from us. Would I have done that? No, I would not have done that. I would have made him coach out his contract and said, okay, look, there have been some extenuating circumstances. We get it. You dealt with COVID and all these other things and whatever excuse under the sun that you want to throw at the wall for missing the tournament 2 out of 3 years. Didn't have the money, didn't secure a big in the portal, whatever. But I want to see what you can do. You got a GM now. I want to see what we can do against quad 1 teams. When I think about Carolina basketball, I don't think about us being a borderline top 70 team in America every year. And that's what we've been 3 out of 4 years, a borderline top 70. And then this year, I don't even know if we're sniffing the bubble right now. I mean, who knows what that loss did to us.
Right.
So who knows? I mean, he got it now. A lot of people are saying that he's the guy, and then hopefully he is. I want our coach to do well. Like the last thing I want to do is be a fan wanting our team to lose. I want us to win every single game.
Right.
But I am concerned, man. I'm hoping that the GM is not the only change. Maybe we make additions to the staff. Maybe we create a role for player development. I don't know. Maybe we add a position where talent evaluation.
Right.
So we know exactly where to allocate the money for the GM. I have no idea what that GM's infrastructure is going to look like and what people or who works underneath him. What do you think? Like, what changes would you make outside of the GM since that's already done?
Man, I love your idea of the player development and bringing a face, right? A Carolina guy.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking like, well, I know Psycho T. I think he does the radio for us, or I can always see him at the game. I mean, that would be pretty cool seeing him getting back, like involved with the team, or like an Antoine Jameson kind of guy.
Yeah.
We got a roster of guys that we could potentially fit that role. It's just a matter of, I guess, selling this opportunity, right, to help the program that they help build. Get back to where it needs to be. But I agree, man. I think I don't know if just the GM and obviously keeping the coaching staff as is going to make a huge difference. But I'm praying it does.
Yeah. I mean, I think even looking at, and I know we got Caleb Wilson, and he's a big name. But we've had teams before where we had pieces and a massive recruit like Cole Anthony come in, and the team just was not good at all. So I don't know if that is going to do it. I do believe that we have work to do in the portal, and maybe they crush it. We crushed it with Cormac and Harrison 2 years ago. The portal this year didn't work out in our favor. Van Leuven's been a great backup / I mean, he's our starter, but I don't know if we want to be a top 25 team or a title contending team that he could be our starting center. Maybe he can. It obviously didn't work out that way this year.
Yeah.
Cade Tyson didn't seem to pan out, and I don't know if he'll be back. I know that he got a pretty hefty number for his production level this year. So, I do think talent evaluation and roster construction is going to be essential. And unfortunately for us, I think it starts on Thursday.
Yeah.
Like if it hasn't already started.
Yeah.
But I mean, I'm really worried about the program. Like at some point you have to take a step back and say, all right, well, Carolina over the last 6 years, which is a pretty large sample size, has not been elite. Now we made a title run, but we made it as an 8 seed. So like we were not elite that year.
Right.
And missing the tournament 2 out of 3. I saw some wild stat where Carolina missed the tournament twice from like 1923 to 2017. And now we've missed it in 3 out of 6 years. Like it's wild, and don't quote me on those exact years, but some large sample size of like 80 years, man.
Yeah. Look, I think just looking at the landscape of college basketball, right? Let's say top 10 teams. Mm-hmm. If you look at all those rosters, man, it's really a good mix of portal guys and some top
recruits.
Exactly. Yeah. So I think in our position, man, like you said, we got Caleb coming in, who's a big name, but we got to get the portal talent, man. Yeah, I think it's honestly more critical. I think. I mean, just look at the big names, man. That's consistently crushing the game right now. They're all transfers. It's who's. I mean, besides who can we name that started as a freshman with that same program and is one of the top talent now?
Maybe Janai Broom at Auburn. He's an Auburn guy through and through?
No, he transferred from Morehead State.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He transferred from Morehead State. This guy, big fella who else? Well, maybe the Houston guys. Houston guys are, I feel,
Yeah, they do a great job of getting Houston type guys. I feel
yeah,
like
the
they have an
dogs.
identity, and every year the name on the back of the jersey doesn't really matter. Like it's
Yeah,
plug and play. They just got a bunch of dogs, and
yeah.
so they're my pick to win the NCAA tournament.
Mm.
I think Duke obviously is right up there. Auburn's right up there. Bama's right up there. But I just like
Florida.
the way Houston plays. Florida. I
Yeah,
think Houston wins in ways where they can survive bad shooting nights. Like we can, I'm sensitive to it because, and you and I talked about it. We don't shoot it well. That's the only way we mask some of our deficiencies is like getting a ton of threes. And when we won that 6 or 7 game win streak, it was because we
yeah.
were shooting almost 50% from three.
Right.
And then yesterday, unfortunately, just wasn't our day. Withers is 1 for 5, and
Mm-hmm.
nobody's making shots. I think Trimble was 1 for 4, 1 for 5. It was just,
Yeah.
it's just not great from
Struggle.
distance. Yeah.
Right.
So, yeah, I mean, I obviously the offseason is going to be big for us, but I'm really worried about the program and could be super sensitive because I love the program and we have been blessed for so many years to have a good program. The last couple of
Yeah.
years have been tough, and you don't see this struggle 9 miles down the road, which is also, your arch rival doesn't seem to go through what we've been
Obviously.
dealing with. So you're like, well, I don't understand how they seem to have figured it out and have been proactive ahead of this thing and have had a GM. We're reactive and scrambling and consistently on the ropes.
Yep. I don't get it, man. I'm same boat as you, brother. I am super nervous. I'm worried. I'm concerned. I think majority of Tar Heel Nation feel the same way, man.
Yeah.
It's just this is not the Carolina brand of basketball we used to seeing, for years.
Yeah, I wonder, and maybe you have this, and I'll have to look it up. Anybody that actually watches this, thank you for checking us out. Like, obviously, it's been a very challenging season. How long we'll have to wait to know the future of Ian and Drake? Because that'll play a factor in what we
Oh
need to
yeah,
get in the portal. You know what I mean? And
sure.
so I don't want to be held hostage by their decision, and then we miss out on some portal guys because there's been rumors. Who knows if it's true? But Danny Wolf from Michigan, who's had a hell of a season, he was
Monster.
on campus early,
Yeah,
and hopefully we didn't slow play that and missed out. You know what I mean? He would have been, I think, a very game season changing piece to our
right.
roster had we got him. So the off season is going to be very important. In all right, will Ian and Drake declare early, or are they going to go through the process and then maybe come back? Like, obviously, I would love to have both of them back, but
Right.
if it's best for them to go, I support that too. I want all our Carolina kids to do well and achieve all their dreams.
Yeah, I mean, I think the portal opens up on the 24th of this month.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, we gotta be on the ball for that one, man. But to your point, great
Well,
point.
fortunately, I don't believe we'll be playing. Like, unfortunately, we'll be able to pick up the phone that day. We won't be in practice. I don't think.
Yeah, so I mean that's one positive I guess we can look at, right? Like since we'll be out of the tournament, we hopefully, to your point, know what's going on with Ian and Drake. So we can, game plan as best as possible. But
What's your call? What's your call on those guys?
I say Ian, as much as up until about a month ago, Ian's stock was a lot higher than Drake, right? We all knew that.
Yeah,
Um, but the last month or so, especially that 6 game win streak we had, Drake was balling on
yeah,
both sides of the floor, and I think, seeing some draft boards, and he was definitely creeping up. So my gut says they're both going. Unfortunately,
yeah, yeah.
my gut. Um, but I would love to see Drake stay, man. With Drake, with Caleb next season, I mean that's a great foundation, and hopefully we get set to stay one more year, get that veteran leadership, and I think that's a solid start. And then we got to pull a legit big man off the portal for sure.
Yeah.
What
I
about
mean,
you?
Well, the shooters, I believe both the guards that we have coming in supposedly are good shooters. I would love a portal shooter though. I mean, I love Seth, but like games like yesterday, 1 for 9 offensively,
Nah,
just
nah.
not going to get it done. And he's a junior, so like I don't know if his jump shot's going to improve much more than it did already.
Yep.
Uh, I'd love to have him back if the numbers right.
Yeah.
Again, we gave a large check to Cade Tyson,
Yep.
which prevented, I think, getting a big.
Yeah.
So I don't want to break the bank on Seth. I would love to
Right.
have him, but if he's asking for RJ money, I don't know if we have that. I don't know
Yeah.
if we're able to allocate that large of a chunk of the NIL collective with the other holes that we need to fill. So I
Yeah.
think that that's going to be a real conversation. I've
Yeah.
been told they already made an offer to him. And so he has a certain amount of time to say, "Yep, I'm gonna come back." And if he doesn't by that time, they are gonna actively shop to fill his position in the portal. That's
That's
the
good.
rumor. That's the
Yeah.
rumor.
What do you think? Do you think both freshmen out, or one of them staying?
Well, one of the things that I worry about is this season could not have been fun. Ian, if I'm Ian and Drake, Drake supposedly this was his dream school. He's always wanted to play
Yeah.
there. That might factor in of like, hey, I'm going to make a large sum of money if I come back, so
Yeah.
I'll essentially be a pro. I
Yeah.
can get better, and I don't think his stock drops. Some kids they need to go because the potential
Yeah.
is they're getting drafted on potential. I think
Yeah.
his potential and the way that he plays defense and some of the skill set that he offers that the
Yeah.
pros don't find all the time, like guys that play defense and can spread the floor, like those guys get paid.
Yeah.
He's only going to get better at both of those skill sets. So he might come back. I think Ian's gone. I don't think Ian wants to play in a team that loses every meaningful game that they have. Now, maybe they don't do that next year, but that's what happened this year.
Right.
It's like it couldn't have been fun. I don't
Yep.
know what the sell is. Like, hey, man, come back. Next year is going to be different.
Right.
Why is it going to be different?
Yeah.
Like, so yeah, I mean that's the pessimist in me, but like I think they're both gone,
Yeah. Same.
and that is concerning because that means we really got to win in the portal, and
Yep.
we did not win in the portal last year. So that scares me that we're going to be right back here again,
Yeah.
dealing with the same problem and having the same tummy ache that we have right now, and that I don't know that's not something I'm looking forward to.
Well, let's pray we learn from this season or this past off season mistakes, right? Like
Yeah,
striking out heavily, and we knew what we needed to get, and we totally struck out.
yeah,
So let's pray now with this, especially with this GM in place. Hopefully, we're a lot more organized and more prepared
yeah.
with the game plan and actually execute, man. Because that's the name of the game, brother. I mean, this whole it's the free agency market now. That's what the
Yeah.
NIL is. So I think it's great. We got to get some major freshmen coming in, but I think the portal is where it's at because you're getting experienced guys, and you can really tailor your roster to whatever specific needs you're looking for.
Well, we
You know?
got to have a five. I mean, I don't believe that there's any freshmen left that are difference makers at the five spot. So we
Yeah.
got to get a five in the portal. I don't know who that could be.
Yeah.
I've heard rumors that maybe the kid from Stanford who just absolutely torched us is someone that might look to change his situation if he doesn't go pro. So maybe, but we got to find somebody.
Absolutely.
And hopefully we find them soon. I do love that the GM was hired before the season was over, though, because I
Yes.
would imagine he's
Yeah.
already looking, and I think that Tar Heel Nation, and definitely if you're in the building,
Yep.
there is some real concern. Now, I've also been told Hubert was offered that extension before this season started. He just didn't sign it until Christmas, which I was like, man, he should have put pen to paper quick. because
Yeah.
because man, this season did not go well, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, let's just hope that I'm not a GM for a reason. I would have liked to see him coach for his career, but
Yeah. No,
maybe
I
maybe
agree,
he's the
man.
guy.
But like we said earlier, man, it's done deal. So we got to work with what we got and pray for the best, man.
Give me the ACC tournament prediction real quick before I let you go. We'll cut it short because I don't want to bore anybody. But so we got the winner of
Yeah.
what the Pitt Notre Dame, is that right?
Yeah, Pitt Notre Dame.
Okay. Who do you think's winning that? I think I got Pitt.
I think Pitt, man. Pitt always gives us a little trouble, bro.
Pitt always gives us trouble.
You know that backcourt they got, they're tough. They're
Mm-hmm.
tough, you know. So, but I think we will get one. So I think we can beat Pitt, right?
Yep. Okay.
And Wake Forest, we already know what happened in regular season there.
Yeah, I think we win that game though. For some reason, I just feel strongly that that's a team that we match up well against. I think that they will hurt us on the inside. Their big is, he's a load of a human, Pauls, but I do think we get that win.
Yeah, I think just the universe, bro, is really gonna take us to round 3.
I think so too, and I don't have any hope for it, but
I mean, you and I are massive hoop junkies. We've been fans forever, and we know the game. And like you said it earlier in the show, like it's so hard to beat a team 3 times in 1 year, bro. We've seen it many, many times. Look, anything can happen. All we gotta do is get there and just play our hearts out. And,
if they beat us 3 times, I think that it's and again I wouldn't trade it, but it's the get back for beating them on K's last night and the Final Four game.
That's for sure.
I wouldn't trade it though. I wouldn't trade it. I'll take 3 losses for those 2 wins any day.
Absolutely, bro. We're in history books, bro. You can't take that back. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, it's done. Like we ruined that whole experience. But
our boy.
I feel it's the universe. The universe is bringing the third episode.
Yeah.
And if we can somehow squeak that out and we get to the chip, I think
I think we'll end up seeing Clemson. I think Clemson's going to beat Louisville.
Same.
And Clemson obviously put their foot in our butts.
Those big boys, man.
So who knows? But
your boy Jay Watts got to step it up.
Yeah. Jay Watts, you think Jay Watts is back next year?
It depends on what happens with this portal.
Yeah.
I think if we get a legit big, because look, to be honest with you, he came in as the guy and he didn't really perform. And, the last month or so, it's been Lubin and Withers.
Mm-hmm.
I think he probably feels a little disrespected, to be honest with you, right?
Yeah.
I don't know, but
I
get a big.
I feel like they're going to sit him down, though. I feel like it's not. I don't think they're going to give him a choice of hey, we think you'd be a better fit somewhere else. We'll help you find a home. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know if they find someone in the portal that they're like, hey, this guy's coming. Yeah. We want you to finish your career, your senior year, somewhere where you can play. And you know he's battled injury, and I want the kid to play. I don't know if Carolina's the place where he's going to play, though.
Yeah, 100%, man. It's just. Especially with the roster makeup we have, his skill set didn't fit, man.
Yeah,
I don't know, but that's where it's at, man. And then who knows what happens if we make it to the chip? Like you said, Clemson is a tough team. Their bigs are.
I mean, if we beat Duke, anything can happen. But I just don't see that happening. Again, I don't want to be a bad Carolina fan. I took not a lot of heat, but I got a couple messages of man, how can you not say we're going to beat Duke? And I was like, well, I did predict the score to be that we would win, but I obviously didn't feel very confident that was going to happen, just because the proof's in the pudding. The team has been much better than us all season long.
Right.
So we'll see. But all right, man, go Hills. Hopefully we're coming back on here and doing a preview show for the Duke game, because it would be nice to win 2 games in the ACC tournament.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. I mean, look, either way, March is upon us.
Mm-hmm.
This time of the year, and pray for the best, brother.
Pray for the best. All right, go Hills.
Go Hills, baby. Appreciate you.